I get asked a decent bit about how I got started in the music industry because a lot of people move to town and are looking to get started, so I figured I'd share with you how I got started. And while we talk about it, I'm gonna make some coffee. So many conversations in Nashville are over a cup of coffee, so felt natural to make coffee while making this video. It's such a beautiful day. Should do this outside. How do you get started in the music industry? There are several starting points, but we'll start with my story. Well, that's hot. I think I've shared it before on the channel, but basically, when I was 13, my parents bought me studio time to go check out a music studio. And so that was my first experience getting to go into a space and create music. And it opened my eyes to the fact that you could actually make a living playing music. And I thought that was just super cool. So 13 years old, kind of started to desire a career in music. And then from there, I got plugged in at church, playing a lot of church music. Also, I know I said I was going to be outside, but the neighbors are chatting in their backyard, so don't want to interrupt them. So upstairs we go. But playing in church led me to playing with other people a lot, and that was very helpful for me. So that was very helpful for me in many ways because I got to play with other musicians that sharpened me and made me grow as a musician. Decided to turn on that light, so a little more facial lighting for visual intrigue. But anyway, in playing with other people, I got to learn some valuable skills about collaboration and listening to other people's ideas and inputting my own and understanding that not everything I say will be interesting to other people. So from there, I was in high school, auditioned for a group at Liberty University to see if I could get a full ride, and I wound up getting a full ride scholarship to play guitar. And that was really the moment that started my actual move into the music industry. While I was there, we played hundreds of shows, touring around the country, kind of recruiting people to the school and leading worship at different churches. But it was kind of like my first look at different professional settings for music. Like, how do people actually tour? What does it mean to load in and load out of a venue? I'd done a little bit of that in high school, but this was kind of like, when you're doing it day in and day out, just loading in, loading out, meeting different people, meeting sound guys, engineers, advancing shows, finding, hotels and logistics and all that kind of stuff. It was my first real entry into what it looks like to do music full time. And it was really valuable to learn. So after college, this is kind of my first official step into the music industry. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And Nashville is a great place for the music industry. It is Music City. Started playing some music with artists that I found everywhere, honestly. I was just putting my name out there, meeting people for coffee, going on the Nashville Craigslist Musicians Forum and seeing who needed musicians, auditioned for some people, played some real fun shows. So as I was making these connections and playing these shows, even playing some session stuff and getting into recording, it just opened up different things for me. So I would meet somebody and they would be a producer, and then they would want me to play, guitar on a track or something. And then I'd meet someone else and they were an artist, and eventually they would want me to play guitar on the road with them. And then even my friends from college would have projects and they'd be like, you do this, you want to play guitar on my thing or bass on this or whatever. And so it just kind of naturally snowballed when I moved to Nashville and said, I'm going to actually pursue this. I wound up moving back to Virginia for a few years to pursue a master's degree in business. And so I've got that graduated. Still haven't taken my degree out of its tube that it was sent in. So hopefully it's the actual degree that I got. I guess time will tell. And after I got my master's, I came back to Nashville and kept touring, kept playing, worked briefly at a record label. And then now I'm still producing and making music and making new connections all the time. It looks different for everybody, but that was kind of what my intro into the music industry looked like. Kind of just naturally, organically, on a timeline, starting at 13 years old, going to a studio, then playing in church, then going to college, getting a music degree in college and touring around, and then, jumping into it in Nashville, continuing to make connections, and those connections needed me for different things. Yeah, I'm 35 now, and that's still kind of the case. I have friends that are doing music in different areas who are different worship pastors that need songs to be written and recorded, released. And then there's, other friends who are touring artists and need touring musicians, and other friends who are producers and need session players. So that's kind of how I entered into the music industry. So this video is for you. You might be wondering, where do I start? Well, a good place is not where I started this morning. I actually have Ring doorbell footage of me slipping and falling. I slipped on my yard on my way to my car like it was me slipping on a banana peel. It literally was like a cartoon. It was the worst. That's neither here nor there. Don't know why I brought that up, but a good place for you to start is looking at your connections and say, who does what I want to do and who needs my skill set? Those two kinds of people who do what you want to do and people who need your skill set. Reach out to them, actually genuinely connect with them, and tell them what you're wanting to connect about and say, hey, I'm looking to get into this music business thing. What does that look like? Oftentimes that can seem really weird because it's like saying, hey, guitarist, I also play guitar and I want to get the gigs that you have. It's like, that can be tricky because on one sense, that can be very like competitive and seem like, so you're trying to take my job? So it can be very delicate to approach. But I think that most people I've met that I've said, I admire you, and I'm just curious to see how you got where you're at. I would love to be you when I grow up, basically. So how did you get there? I'd love to hear more about that, hear more about you, hear what you're about, what you love. That always goes over well versus, hey, I want to take your job. So approach that delicately, but I think it's a good thing to approach. The second thing is with people who might need your skill set. I would kind of define what you can do. And then, if you write songs and you record and you produce and all those things, like that's great. But it can be confusing to someone to get an email to be like, hey, I'm a singer, songwriter, session player, touring musician, producer, business owner, and I would love to work with you, because they would be like, well, in what capacity am I working with you at? So if you want to produce and you know some artists that are looking for producers, instead of saying, hey, I'm a singer, songwriter, session music, like just say, hey, I produce music and I'm looking to get more into this thing. And you're one of those people I was thinking about as I'm making a list of artists and would love to talk with you about what that looks like. That would be a simple pitch. That's, they can say no, but it also is an invitation for them to see what you do. And then it's always imperative to actually be able to back up your claim. So if you don't actually produce music, then don't do that. But, look at your skill set, see what you're good at, and then start reaching out. Shameless plug, check out Hill City Recording. It's a record label I started. One thing to note is don't just make contacts to get something from them. That's a weird caveat because I know this video is about how to start in the music industry, but people can sniff that from a mile away, where if you just want something from them, if you're just there to get a result from them, it's going to feel bad for both parties. Genuinely try to cultivate relationships, and through that, hopefully, some things will come for you. But yeah, super simple. That's the entire video. How to get started? Nike, just do it. I don't know. Reach out to those today. Today, do it. Write down a list of people to reach out to and make genuine connections. Hope this was helpful in some sort of way. Can't wait to do more YouTube videos and have you guys along for the ride. We'll catch you next time.